All right, it is 4:11. Lovely to see so many of you here. Thank you for coming. I'm sure plenty of you are using animation for your final projects. This will be a great lecture for you. Yeah, I hope everyone is doing okay. I know it's a rough time of the semester. So yeah, let us know if you need anything. We are always here to read your emails, listen to your crises. That's fine. But yeah, let's get started. First things first, come on. As per usual, this lecture is being recorded. You all heard my laptop say this lecture is being recorded. And posted on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Here's an overview. So we're gonna do some announcements, warm up. There's gonna be a little bit of a lecture and then a demo, a couple of demos. And then your lecture engagement. All the normal announcements. I think y'all have gotten into the swing of things by now, but most pressingly, check-in number 2 is due on Wednesday. And the final project is due on December 1st, which is coming up. So as always, reach out to us if you need help. Come to office hours. There's so many of them, as you know. Let's do a little bit of review. It's going to be a little bit silly, goofy today because we're going to review documentation. So write some answers on a piece of paper. Name a type of documentation. There are types listed on the last lecture slides, but you don't need to give me like actual like verbatim types. Just tell me a type. And how would you change the readability of the following function? This might be something we talked about a little bit less on Wednesday. Let me set a timer. Yeah, y'all can talk if you want. You got a minute and a half. No. Jesus. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. All right. It has been a minute and a half, probably a little bit more than that. Can someone just name a type of documentation for me? Yeah.
Adding doc strings.
Doc strings. Yeah, like within the function of within a like right under a def statement. If we start using like classes, doc strings are great for that. Do we have another type that people remembered? Yeah.
Since we different like packages that some of each function.
Yeah. So websites for different packages, those are very, very comprehensive, high level documentation that allows us to know what's going on under the hood without having to read the code. Another type of documentation is like the hashtag comments, which we kind of call inline documentation. Can someone tell me how they would change the readability of this function? Yeah.
You give it a name that isn't function.
I really like that answer. Yes. Func is a horrible name for this function. Because, like, it does something pretty specific. Any ideas what you would change it to?
Check if it's visible by 3, but that's a little long, so.
Yeah, and so that's an interesting thing, right? I'm sure we talked about it on Wednesday, but you kind of got to make trade-offs. There are people who like really long doc strings. There are people who prefer inline comments. There are people who prefer really long function names. And there are people who prefer more documentation within the function. So come on. Yeah, up here, inline comments, doc strings, top level docs, like a README. Personally, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I also didn't. This isn't even a readability thing. This is a debugging thing. Would this function have worked? Yeah, great. Good job. I really need to check my work, but yes. So personally, if I had written the code correctly and that was not an issue here, I would remove the inline comment that I put because it's just clunky here. And I would change the function name to be more descriptive. And so this is an example where readability does not necessarily involve more documentation. Okay, with that, let's talk about what animation is. It's a really fun thing you can do in Python. It's make a little GIF. And the video I like to show that kind of illustrates exactly what we do in Python. It's this. Yeah. It's a very old flipbook animation from Disney. You literally can see the flipbook pages. Raise your hand if you like did a flipbook animation when you were a kid. Yeah. Yeah. Me too. And they were lovely. And it turns out that's going to be some great experience for understanding what animation is. Basically, we take a set of images, we flip through them, and we stitch them together into an MP4 file. That's a very high-level description. So just give it a think for a second. What kind of object do we know of where we can show visual data that we can update? It's a Python thing. Y'all have been using it quite a bit. Yeah. Data frames are great for displaying the data itself, but for a more visual representation of the data, like if you wanted to see the trend of the data, what would you use? I would use a plot. And we have access to those. And that is kind of the core of what the most intuitive version of animation is in Python. So naively, and by naive, I don't mean that you guys are dumb. This is just kind of how I would go through it if I didn't know the logic of the Python itself. I'd initialize a figure object. I'd iterate through a time axis, like a list from 0 to 10 with 100 steps or whatever. I would update the data as it should behave as time goes on. And then I'd overwrite the plot on the figure. And then I would save them with a handy dandy matplotlib function, which does exist, promise. The reality of it is a little bit more nuanced. and it's based on the demo that you're going to see today from Olivia. So func animation is a function in matplotlib.animation. Very, very creative. You initialize a figure and a line object. This is pretty narrow. You define a function that defines the behavior. You'll understand what that means as we do the demo. You'll feed it some sort of iterable that defines time progression, like that time list, 0 to 10 seconds with 100 steps, and then use a handy dandy Python function to stitch the figures together, but under the hood, so you don't have to deal with it. Questions? Okay. It's time for a demo.
Have fun. Okay. Wait, how do I go to Jupyter Notebook on here?
We'll escape. Oh, ignore that. And ignore those, please.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just gonna be running through a demo right here. Right now, let's just focus on some imports. We're gonna have one new import, but for now, we're just gonna be importing matplotlib. If I could spell. And NumPy. And then we're gonna have one new import, and this is kind of what Charlie was talking about, the function that's gonna be doing everything under the hood. From matplotlib.animation, we're gonna be importing func animation. And make sure you capitalize your F and your A. Trust me, I like it was such an annoying error, but anyways, also an extra thing below, this may or may not work for you. I know this wasn't working on my laptop when I did it, but I trust that Charlie's laptop is a lot better than mine. What you can do is you can just have your percent sign matplotlib inline, or you could use Notebook. What this is going to do is it's going to make sure your animation runs in your cell. And if it doesn't, don't worry, there's something else we can do in the end that's a little more annoying, but you can still see your animation. So with that, let's make a sine wave. So sine wave, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen one. It's just going to be what we have like some array, like let's say X, and then we're going to plug it into some sine function, and then that's going to spit out, I guess, the sine wave. But for now, let's just make a figure. So we'll just say that, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, so we'll just have a figure right now, just to start. So fig x equals plt.subplots. And then we can create some x values. Have you guys used the np.linspace function before? Okay, good. So I'm just gonna do x equals np.linspace, and I'll do it from maybe what 0 to 2 times n.pi. And then we'll have like 100 or so of these points. Okay, so now that we have our x's, we need oh, sorry, do you have a question? Oh, yes, of course. Let me do this.
Command.
Is
How's
that a little
that?
better? All good? Okay, awesome. So now we'll just make our sine function. You can just do this by saying, oh, y equals sine of x, but for just the sake of it, I'm just gonna say def sine of x is that. Oh my goodness. And then we're just gonna return np.sine of x. Okay, so we have everything we need to kind of start building our plot, and now what we're going to do is we're going to initialize a line object. And this is kind of the thing that's like, okay, we have, I guess, a way to think about it is like, okay, we have a way that we want this function to look, and this is the thing we're going to be tacking our frames onto. So we'll just call it line, and we need this comma right here. I'm not sure why exactly. It's just a syntax thing, I guess, but we'll just say, okay, line comma is just going to be equal to ax dot or x dot plot, and then we'll do x sine, and then well, you don't have to give it a line width, but just for the sake of it, I'll just say line width is equal to 2. It's quite literally just the width of your line that's going to appear. Okay, so now that we have our line objects, we're gonna be trying to update what this looks like. And I guess this is kind of analogous to making all your frames in a way, and then we'll end up stitching those frames together. And that's gonna be our animation. So we'll make some updating function. We'll just literally call it update. And it's gonna take in some frames. So what we do now is that, okay, so we have these frames that are coming in and we want to update what our line object is. So quite literally what we're going to do is we're just going to do line and then set our data. I believe it's y data. Yeah, so y data. And then we're just going to set this equal to np.sign of, you could do x plus frame. And it doesn't quite have to be the frame itself. I think this is going to dictate how choppy it looks or how smooth it looks almost. But you can divide your frame by any kind of number. I'm just going to do 10 for the sake of it. And then we're just going to return line after this. Okay, do you guys need a minute to catch up or are you all good? Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's try to piece it together now. So, if you recall, Charlie mentioned, oh, we have a function that lets us stitch together these frames. Um, well, that function is just going to be quite literally func animation. So if we call our animation anim, for instance, we're just going to call something like func animation, and then we'll plug in our figure, our update function, and our frames. And we'll just say frames equals, I don't know, 100, something like that. And then we need interval. I never really understood why we needed interval, but it's whatever. And then blit too. Have no clue what blit does, but if you set blit equal to true, I'm sure it does something. Okay, so we have that. We can just run it. And then, oh, PLT is not defined. Oh, I did. Thank you. Okay. So hopefully if my spelling is correct, then we should have seen something. Big error. Okay. Um, let's see, where did we go wrong?
It's where the error is.
Line? Okay. X and Y must have the first same. Oh,
If you scroll back up a little bit, it shows you where the error originated first. So which like line in the error it originated in first.
okay.
So that line 8.
Line 8, yeah. Okay. What's going on here? Okay, in an ideal situation, this would be working, but it's not. Okay. There shouldn't be anything wrong with this function right here. Okay.
Inside this one.
That might be the issue. Okay, yeah. So the issue here is that we just said sign. And so I'm gonna highlight this line right here. What we did right here is we just called sign and not sign of x. Small error. But if you do sign of x, you should get something that's not animating for some reason. I have no clue why that's the case. I think it might just be the inline function. So I'm just gonna call notebook instead. Okay, yeah. There we go. So if you call notebook instead of inline, it works for me. It might be different for some of you guys. Um, how many of you guys are able to see an animation so far? Yes, of course. Do we need some time? Okay. Does anyone need any help? Or, okay.
So, raise your hand if you're not getting anything on the output. Yeah, if you have Matplotlib inline, you're not gonna get anything in the output. If you try Matplotlib notebook and it says IPython not defined. Yeah, that is something that is kind of a pain to fix. So maybe we should just show them how to save the animation to a GIF file.
Yeah.
So once we save it to the GIF file, then you'll be able to open it up and see it. You just won't be able to see it the way it's being shown on the slide.
Oh, good. Wait, did you still need help or, oh, good. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so, don't worry if you're not able to see this. Like, quite literally wasn't able to use the percent matplotlib on my own computer. So what we can do instead is we can save this as a GIF and then we'll be able to access it later. So let's go up to our imports right here. And next to the matplotlib.animation, or that import function, or not function, or that import, we'll just write comma and we'll write pillow writer instead. And this is what's going to allow us to save it as a GIF. Okay, so once you have that, we'll initialize something called writer, and that's just going to be equal to pillow writer. And then we'll set our frames per second equal to 10. Okay, so now that we have that set up, we can save our GIF. And quite literally, it's just anim.save if you called your function anim. And we can give it a name. I'll just call it sine wave. .gif. And then we'll say writer equals writer. Are we all here? Okay. So if we run that, it should save. And you can look for this in Jupyter Notebook. It might take a minute for it to appear, but you should be able to see it in the same file or folder. I'll keep this up here for those who need it. Yes?
Don't really know what that means.
Oh. Okay, so that's probably from notebook right here. It's okay, I have the same arrow here. And instead we'll just save it and then. Okay, let's maybe just ignore that right now and let's go to right here. And we'll see if our. So Simon would give and perfect, yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the last go.
Are we still working on this, guys, or are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, just show of hands, how many of us were able to get this to work? Okay, that is not many. Are there any errors that we're collectively running into? No, okay. I'll keep this up for like another minute or so. Please raise your hand if you need help. That's what we're here for. Okay, are we good to move on, guys? Or do you guys still need a minute? Good? Oh,
Oh. Oh, wait, this isn't, zero word. You might want to use a comma right here because this isn't food object space. We're trying to specify our region. We want to go from 0 to pi. And what
Oh, yeah.
this does right here, it's like, okay, let's do 0.2 pi all the way down to the and then the video is like, so I'm surprised as a dog. Oh god, thank you so much. It's okay. I think you might need to say this. Yeah, so people say, they just take that. So much. Hell yes.
okay. Sorry, I probably asked this like 3 times, but are we good to move on, guys? Okay. I'm just gonna move on. Okay, so that's a sine wave, fun. But you can do some more interesting stuff with this. And yeah, there's a lot of like random details that you can get stuck on. But yeah, I guess just power through it. So how about we try to model projectile motion? So you guys know what projectile motion is? Yes? Okay. Can anyone tell me what relationship we might expect if we're trying to find the vertical height of our object? Let's say like we throw a ball at some velocity v naught. Uh, what relationship is going to tell us the height of the ball at a given time? It's okay if you don't know it. Oh, go ahead.
Parabolic? Parabolic.
It is gonna parabola, yeah. Or it's gonna be a parabola. I feel like I missed some words there. Okay. Yeah, so basically, if I can write this big enough, the relationship we expect to have, I'll just call the height y of t. Um, it's gonna be some initial height plus our velocity times time, plus our acceleration over 2 times t squared. Now, if we're just throwing a ball from like ground height, then we can just say that h naught is 0 and a is just going to be equal to negative g. And this is absolutely something we can just throw in Python and model. So why don't we give it a go? So we have our imports above, should work fine. Let's just create a new figure. So I'll call this fig1, x1. Oh, can you guys see that? Okay, awesome. Okay, so we'll just call this figure fig1 x1 and PLT subplots. And then we have that. We can set a limit for our axes. That's at least what I did in my notes, and I feel like it's gonna appear awful if we don't do it otherwise, but it might appear fine for you guys. But I'm just gonna call x1 dot set xlim equals, I don't know, 0 to 5, and then ylim is just gonna be equal to negative, I don't know, 5 to 10. It should be fine. I think it's really just going to depend on what your variables are. So like your initial velocity, or if you assign initial height, then yeah. Okay, so now that we have that, let's just create an array of times. We're again just going to call np.linspace. So we can say np dot linspace. Let's do 0 to 10, and then we'll put like 100 points in there. Okay, so are we all good? Okay, so now let's just make our variables. Since our ball is falling down, our g is just going to be negative. So we'll just say that g is equal to negative 9.81. And then v naught, this is kind of your liking. or whatever you want. I'm just gonna set it equal to 10. Okay. So we have our variables and then we want to figure out what our height is. Now you can make a function or not. We quite literally have this relationship right here. So what we can do is we can just say, oh, that is horrible spelling. Height is just going to be equal to, what is it? It's v naught times t minus 1/2 times g times t squared. That's correct, I think. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah. So our height should be given by this. If you include some h naught or some initial height, then it's just going to be h naught plus all that stuff. But for just to make it simple, I'm just going to say h naught is equal to 0. Okay, so we have our height and our other variables. Let's try to create a line object right now, though. So we'll just say that line is equal to ax.plot. And then because we're tacking things on one at a time, so I think if you were able to get your sign animation, it was just going to be this thing, but it's kind of wiggling around. It's not just like plotting things one at a time and kind of just snaking through the graph. We can get a plot that looks like that if we do something like this. So we'll call ax.plot t naught and then height of 0. And this is basically just calling the first items in the array. And we're saying, okay, hey, line, start here. So we'll call that, and then we need this. I never figured out why we needed this extra 0 right here, but oh well. Okay, so we made our line object. Now let's make a function that updates it. So again, we'll just define update. Then it'll take in some frame. And then we'll set both the x and the y data. So we'll do line.set x data. And then this is just going to be t of our frames. And then we do the same thing again with the y data. So line.set y data, and that's just going to be height of colon frame. Okay, so now that we have that, I cannot spell today, I'm so sorry. Okay, we just return line. Okay, so are we all here? Good? Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we just need to stitch these together. Oh. So I'm just gonna call this Annie. And then we're gonna call func animation. And then it's kind of the same thing as before. You're just gonna call fig update frames. Just gonna set it equal to 40. And then interval equals 30. And then I'll just say blit equals true. Maybe I'll set it to false next time and see what it does. But anyways, if you have that. Oh. Okay, I forgot a comma. Okay. And it is not running. Lovely. Okay. Okay. This, I guess split doesn't do anything here. I'm just gonna get rid of it. Okay. So for some reason it's not plotting, which is lovely. Um, Let me see if I can try saving it. Actually, I don't know if I want to do that to Charlie. Okay. So I'm gonna try saving this function. Any.save, and then I'll just say projectile.gif. And then I'll just use the same pillow writer as before. Oh, this right here. Oh, interesting. Okay, well that's running. Maybe it was the same error as before. Hmm. Okay. Well, this is just throwing me the same error I got initially. Um, okay. Where did we go wrong? Oh, it's up here. Okay, let me comment this out. This is super annoying.
So writer. Man.
Yeah. Okay.
Why is that?
That's a good idea. Yeah. But at least we know it works. It was just in another place. Um, oh my God, I hate this thing so much. Okay.
Writer even for the between and that say.
Yeah.
Writer.
Hello writer and then FPS equals 10 or something. Okay. That's actually so annoying. Okay. Let's see if we can find it here.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Please ignore this.
It keeps going. Okay, wait. Lovely. Okay, here it is. This is actually killing me. Okay, was anyone actually able to get it to work? Yeah?
I think, if you put in the new update function, return line comma,
Okay. Let's
they
see.
caused another problem. But fix it.
Oh. Okay. Um, let's see. For some reason in my notes, it does not say that. Yeah, it's giving me an error too. So I'm just gonna delete these commas.
Why is it purple?
Okay, I'm just gonna restart the kernel and see if that does anything.
You defined big one and axe one, but you're plotting axe and fig.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. These-
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Charlie. If anyone did axe.plot, make sure you do axe1.plot. These are two different figures, so yeah, live debugging, guys. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. Were you guys able to get something similar to this? It's okay if you don't have it running in your cell. If you're able to access the GIF in your Jupyter Notebook folder, then that also works too. Does anyone need any help or are you running into errors? Okay.
Okay. It's still good. It's so simple. Okay, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
I'm getting the same
I
text
know.
on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solve their, Cause I don't recommend any of it's here. Is one of the videos. Oh. Oh, wait, go back to that. Okay. You called it and, should be.
Oh, that's it.
That we were more private. Yeah. So it just won't go on campaign. But I think if you use my section. And see if it's going to have it's probably inside the. I'm confused, but some. Yes. No, that's something I shouldn't. So you probably. This one, they just gave it a second. Yeah. Wow.
Mine should.
Wait. Okay, let's just do that. Oh, that's the big one. Yeah. It do be like that. It do be like that. So, yeah, it just lost me. I would, do you know how to change, the axis? Or like, what does that even, and not, wow, that is easy. So, here, okay, you're not gonna be, not bullshit. They said that error, that's what that error. The previous. Well, so it's this morning. But maybe it's done. That was my homework to know what they look like. Oh. Oh, yeah, there. I have another. Some of the things about. Yes. We weren't gonna get. But also here, what's this? That's the same, okay. Okay, so we're at the same spot. What? We're trusted with our. So, yeah. It's not showing up. Yeah, it's not.
Yes.
Um, we have a few minutes left of class. Is anyone still running into errors? Okay, a lot of people. Okay.
So the last one is the same error, I got the last one. Oh, the last one is the same. It's the same. I'm just on what is your error? It says JavaScript error.
Next year.
Very short.
Change your starting line.
Like still there. Okay.
Did you favorite? Yeah. At the bottom.
My index, yeah, I did the same exact thing for the, it's like, but this one, I don't think it's the same error, but it's not.
Even if I did not the same error, I would still check if you're giving the word. If it's not,
Do you have a time? Also, it's a sign. They turned it to 60. It's image. It's not like well, there. This is my word. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Yeah, what is it? This is mad like that. Maybe we do. In the.
I had one or two and then I made it.
This is. Why is there?
This question was on the phone. Yeah. So I just looked at the,
give it a minute, guys.
okay.
Only a wait, so I got so we're not doing so. I was thinking some pretending like special tools. I just like the first I didn't know what it was. Well,
Is that this way? That's okay.
yeah, I think you're. No, but where? That's one of the slides.
Just drop it.
I was just gonna say. Oh,
wait.
It's every line.
This would be hilarious.
Oh.
That would be just my side.
Okay, wait, I think I was.
How much did we get?
Before.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm just under two.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
and